Thank you guys for joining us again on Be the Trader. Today I have a very special guest, Tom Diesel. He's an MIC moderator and trader, and he has a great story. And if you haven't heard it yet, you're going to hear some of it today, and we're going to kind of recap on where he's at currently. So, Tom, thanks for joining us today on the show, man.
Thanks for having me, bro.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So to give some people a background, I love your background, your story. And when I read about it, I was just kind of like, that's a great story. And that's something that I want to share with the community because it inspired me. And because you see everyone have different journeys and your
Exactly.
journey is very unique. And I think it's something that's people need to hear. So if you could start off a little bit about, what your journey has been, like how'd you get to where you are now?
All right, bro. So what's up, everyone? My name is Tom. Tom Nguyen originally, but I got my nickname on Twitter, Tom Diesel, because I like the movie, Fast and Furious. That Diesel guy,
Uh,
Vin Diesel. That's all right. Long story short, I started trading back in 2016, I believe, or 15. I can't remember, but joining those through chat rooms,
yep.
and basically just chasing alerts. And I end up like blew up like 30K my savings at that time. And so I blew that money up, and I went back to my full-time job after that. And it's like it was like trading is done for me. I don't have any money left to begin to start with. So but I've been following Bao because he's also Vietnamese. I can tell by last name. I've been following him for a while, and before he was like in the background. He's like trading secretly and didn't want to share anything. So right,
Yeah,
so
I
I
remember
was
that.
like, yeah. So I was having his on Twitter. So I was like always waiting for him to post something so that I can learn from because I knew, but I kind of knew he was good, and he's also Vietnamese, right? So that's something is like been motivating me
Yes.
to kind of get into trading. So long story short, I follow him for a while, and right after that, he said something about opening a service and like a community, so which is MIC. So I decided to give it one last chance to join MIC, and man, that was life changing for me after that. So I put in like the last $700. I got like 1,000, and two was for the membership for like 2 months, and
Hmm.
the rest for my trading account. And I was you know finding consistency right after that, joining MIC. So I'm very grateful, for what they've done to me, and what they've been teaching me, or like what I've gathered, the information so far, so I could become
Yeah.
the trader as I am today. Yeah.
So I'm so curious, man. So first, I have a lot of questions. The first one is your journey is very similar to mine, where you lost a big chunk of money, and I
Yep.
lost a big chunk of money. I like left to do this full time and failed, and similar to what you did, I had to go back to work. So I'm curious on how you were able to like. It's very hard to come back, to say, you
Yeah.
know what, I'm gonna come back, and you came
Totally,
back.
bro.
And you came back, and what I love about that is you came back with $1,000, and you said 200 is going to MIC because I want to start learning this process because I trust Bao. That's someone I've always looked up to, and someone that motivated you. So when you saw he came out, you just jumped on it,
Yeah.
and when you jumped on it, you said I have 1,000 and put 200 in education, 700 to my trading account. And for most people, they would be like, no, I need my whole 1,000 for my trading. And they wouldn't even invest in that. They would just be like, no, I'm going
Yeah.
to get back in. So it's very cool. You get rid of 20% of your account to invest in your education, which is huge, man. That's a big step. And most people might hear you say that and not really understand that if that's all you had right now for trading, like why it's hard to do that. So hats off to you on that, man.
It is, bro. It
And
is, bro. Yeah.
hats off to you. And I want to know, what was it though? Like what happened? Because you joined and then all of a sudden you said you found consistency. Like, what do you mean? Like first month? Like, and how did you find it? And what do you mean by that?
I mean, bro, I mean, it's like this. I was dying for, some sort of bow like informations, right? Because you couldn't get it from his Twitter before.
True.
He was like, I was like looking over his tweets, like trading fish and so on. But there's only like general informations, about trading. It's just about how you manage your emotions, and it's just an overall thing for trading. But there's nothing specific, about setups or anything. So I was dying for that, and I was even, spending so much time looking at his fills. He just put on fills, but no charts with executions, nothing. He just put on fills.
Mm.
So I tried to kind of reverse engineering that. And so right after when he opened up a service, so I knew I had to get in just to pick up, his brain, because he's opening a community, right? So that means we are paying him to teach us.
Hmm.
So which means also that he needs to give us the information that we want. So that's why, it's just happened so quick, and I didn't even have to think about that, because before I was learning like absolutely nothing from anyone. I mean, all those chasing alerts, right? And it's like you don't even know how to trade. I mean, you could be green for like, month, no, like weeks and then months, and one day it just wipes out everything. And I started asking myself why, right? You've been doing good, so good for like a month or two,
Hmm.
but then one day came and just all gone. I mean, so, and right after that point I said to myself, no, that this is gambling, right? This is not trading. I mean, this is shouldn't be what you, I mean, striving for. It's not, your full-time job. So that's why after that I kind of quit and joined MIC. And right after I joined MIC, I found out, what trading, really means, something to me, and what is really trading after that point.
So what is really trading?
I mean, yeah, right after joining MIC, they taught me how trading is like about process. And it doesn't really matter what you trade and what your setup is. But, the key thing here is risk management, right?
Hmm.
If you don't have that, you're not going to make it. If you could be up, I don't know, like 1,000 days, 2,000 days, if you just couldn't handle one day, you're not going to make it. Simple as that.
True, true. So was that like the biggest thing for you is because it seemed like you were making money and then you lost it all and then you went
Exactly.
to MIC and what they really taught you is that risk management and how important that is aside from like the actual setups themselves, like focus here and then you were
Yep.
able to find it.
Yep. Exactly. I mean, trading, of course, we need some kind of edge, right? For us to be, consistently profitable trader. But,
Right.
we probably not going to talk about it today because, we all have some kind of, our own edge. Everyone is different. So I'm not gonna go, into details into that. But it's more like when you have that, right? You don't have problems with making the money, but you
Hmm.
can keep it, And so what's the
Absolutely.
point? And even after I joined MIC, I had that as well. I was up like 4 months, and then just that one day wipes out half of the month, right? So the information I've been getting on from MIC, it's like really helpful for me. And I said to myself, why do I even keep trading, right? I don't have problem with being consistently, but I just can't keep it, so what is that? So I had to go back into roots of the problem, and found, risk management. It's probably, I think, is the most important thing here,
I think
from
you're
my
right.
personal opinion. Yeah.
I think you're right. I think setups, in my opinion, I think setups are very, very specific to the individual. And I also think the big picture setup, most people are all trading the same thing. It's just
Yeah.
what they're trading within that big
Yeah.
picture is a little different. And it's all based on your personality. But what's the main ingredient is risk management. Like you said, we can win all day, but if we could lose one day and and it like messes with our risk or messes with our mentality and we lose it all, we could lose it all. We could lose it
Yeah.
all in like a matter of one day, 2 days, even in 5 minutes. So what
Yeah.
would you say helped you a lot in your risk management? Because of course you knew about it before, right? But what are some ideas that made you a better risk manager when you trade?
All right. So I think this point is really, I mean, life changing after I realized that. Um, so when I had that loss, right, and I asked myself, what happened here? What did I do wrong? Like from whatever month or two of being consistently, right?
Right.
So those two, like 1 or 2 months I've been consistently with, because the trade or the stocks is going into my favor, right? So
Hmm.
that's why I'm green. But what happens to that day is that stock's going against me. So what I did is I didn't have hard stops on first of all. So I kept adding to my losers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And after you got like you couldn't handle it anymore, you had to stop out. I mean, so you cut that. And what happens is right after that, that's the worst part. Because
Yeah.
that's when revenge trade is like revenge mode is turned on. I mean, after that it's just not you anymore. It's just all your emotions takes over. And I mean, you dead. I mean, it's like I don't know. I've been there so many times, right? After a losing trade, usually is the worst. So what helped me is that MIC showed me a lot. Like Bao has been talking about this, and it was like a daily max loss. So once it hit, you can't trade anymore, right? So it's just like, I mean, put it this way. I mean, we are all gamblers in some way, like in trading, right?
Right.
You know,
In some way.
we're not gonna stop until we have nothing left. Like because after that, after a losing trade, revenge modes turn on, and and you just trade everything, just anything that shows up. You don't even care about edge anymore. You don't even care about anything. You just want to get in to be able to get that loss back.
Yep.
Instant gratifications. That's all. And so that's why the daily max hit. I mean, the daily max loss is, I think, is very key, point here that I'm trying to make. And that's what have been helping me. So once it hit, I'm done for the day. Come back tomorrow fresh, and again.
So it seems like two ideas. Number one, you use hard stops, right? I'm a
Exactly.
fan of hard stops. I think it saves us from making the emotional decision, should I hold it? And then you say daily max loss. Now, could you dive into that? What do you mean? Like, how do you determine what your daily max loss is? Just to kind of give a framework, because some people may hear this and think, they might take it out of context. So what does it mean to
Exactly.
you in terms of like, how do you like, no matter what size your account is, no matter if I
Yep.
make $100 a day or
Yeah,
$20 a
it
day,
just
what's a
really
daily
doesn't
max
matter.
loss to
Yeah.
you?
I mean, everyone is different based on their account. I'm just putting it, as example here. Like if I have $5,000, right? I'm
Mhm.
gonna risk, it's just my type, risk 2% per trade, so which is $100. So it's really depends on how much you're willing to, to risk. Like let's say the daily max could be I don't know, like $200. Once it hit, you put at 4% of your account. Like
So
once it hits, you gotta stop. I mean, that's it. I mean, but it's just me personally,
yeah,
because if I have 5,000, I don't mind losing 200 per day. Then that's okay, right? But
yeah.
if someone else like you, maybe like you couldn't afford $50, so you have to
Right.
base on that. So it's really up to you how you wanted to put that into.
So like I get the idea. Like, so just make sure I'm following you. So
Hmm.
let's say you want to risk 1% of your account, right?
Yep.
And let's say 1% of your account is $100, right? Are you saying that you should break up your trades into like not one trade be $100, but one trade maybe be $25 so you can have a couple of shots? Like, or is it
Yeah,
the other way
exactly,
around?
exactly. I mean, I would probably do it like, 2 times per trade. I mean, if you're wrong like twice or like
Yeah.
3 times, it's really up to you. But if you're wrong twice, you have to stop for the day. And but it really depends on you how much you putting that into the trade, right? Because some setup, I would probably use all that in one trade. But some setups, I'm just
Oh, okay.
using like, starter, a filling position. So I could, do it over and over again, maybe 4 or 5 times. But it's really depends on you. That's why the edge is coming into place. The playbook, like, what setups, you kind of grade them, A plus, B plus,
Yep.
C plus, or whatever. A plus, you want to get in, with everything you have, right? And once it hit, you're done for the day. But you like if you're trading C or D, or I don't know what setup that is, you might want to, break it, into a little, like a small risk management part. Is
Yeah.
like maybe risking, like, I don't know, 1 or less than 1% on those setups. That's all.
That makes sense. And I want to go back to what you said, like when you first started and you lost your first chunk of
Yeah.
change. Was that on? Give me an idea of, because I'm assuming that you were consistent for a while. You mentioned you were like having making money, but then you lost it all. Was that lost it? Like how fast amount of time where did you lose it? And the reason I want to ask this is because the other question is, what did you learn from that, and what mistakes did you make to lose it that fast?
I mean, at that time, I wouldn't say I was consistently profitable at that time, because it was like on and off for like a year, like 2 years.
Okay.
But overall, like 2 years, blowing up like 30K.
Yeah.
But it's not like 2 years, without break or anything. It's like it's just I'm putting in like for a month or two and then blow it up again. Just and I had to take a break, right? Like 4 or 5 months. But at that time, I think I didn't learn anything. It was like me just putting in the money to gamble,
Mm,
and that was it. And I was like, having a you know, good money for my full-time job.
yeah.
So I was just pouring money in, right? Also, I have some, saving, in my bank, and I blew up. I think, I don't know, maybe 7 or 10 times. I can't remember, but every time, right? You got in, okay, you got some winners, and
Yeah.
you got some nice win, but it was like, ups and down. Like someday I got like 2K, and man, that's easy money, right? In 5 minutes, that's easy money. If I could do it every day, I would be a millionaire by the end of the
Right.
year. But at the end of the week, I blew up the account again. So I, kept asking myself that I can do this. It's just, it's just bad luck. That's all. But that's not really the case, right? So I wouldn't say I found consistency back then, but it was like trying to kind of try to say to myself that it's gonna work, right? If I have more money in. But I didn't even look at the process. I didn't even look at my playbook. I don't even have playbook back then. I was trading on the fly. I mean, I
Hmm.
trade anything that pops. I don't even have any checklist, nothing. It's just like on the fly. That's all.
Yeah, I understand. I understand. And I think this is great for you to say because a lot of us feel that way. A
Yeah,
lot of us are going through that. A lot of us are going through that either now or soon around the corner or just got over that. So I think
exactly,
that's
bro.
great to hear because you didn't give up. You've been consistent now. And do you now give me an idea? Are you still working and trading, or are you trading only? Like where are you at?
I'm trading full time now.
Nice. Congrats, dude.
I have some, size business, like, my own business, but,
Gotcha.
trading full time because I'm not trading, like, more than 2 hours a day. So anyway, so that's
Yeah,
why.
you'll be bored.
Yeah, and also you might lose bag of money as well.
Yeah. Uh,
And that's one of the thing that MIC have taught, taught us, is like anti-zombie, right? 10:30 rule, and we all stop by 10:30. So even me, James, everyone almost. because the first hour is the best for trading. So that's
Yeah,
why.
absolutely. And for those who don't know, the zombie rule is something that I actually picked up too from
Yeah.
MIC when I was part of them for a little while. And that was after 10:30, dude, like for some odd reason, just it's not in your favor, especially if you're a short seller. It's just not in your favor. You might as well just put your keys away and leave the computer because that's where things just come back alive for some reason.
Yeah,
And
I mean, if you look at someone like Bao or Alex, right? They've been
yeah,
trading for like a decade now, and they stopped trading after 10:30. So there's got to be a reason for that, right? I
right.
mean, it's not a coincidence. They stop every single day at 10:30, and not trading after that. So I was picking up the pieces, but I think the most important part here is you need someone to point you into the right direction. I mean, before joining MIC, I have no one, right? I don't even have an edge. I don't even know what trading is, and how to look at those setups, right? How to read charts and everything. And it was like just trading anything that pops up, or like long everything, short anything that's it's making high. So I think a community here, I think it's good when you when they can point you into right directions, and they have the right education for you to succeed. And that's, I think that's life changing for me.
So as a MRIC moderator yourself, I'm sure you get asked tons of questions. You're helping a
Yeah.
lot of people in chat. So what would you say is the biggest challenge that you get asked from other traders that they're always asking you, like, man, I'm trying to get over this. What is that challenge and what advice do you give them?
I mean, the biggest challenge, I think it's for those who are having a small account.
Hmm.
And I've got that questions, a lot, because I grew my account right from that, and I think that's the hardest thing you will ever do in your life, because trading with minimal money, right? Because at this game you need bankroll to be able to trade,
Yep.
because you need to stay in the game for as long as you could, right? And eventually you might gonna get there. But if you don't have money, you're not gonna be able to trade. So I think that questions is, I think it's the most important one: how to grow a small account. And what I've been telling those members is that, first of all, they need to have an edge, right? They need to know what to look for every day, and it's kind of so I have some certain edge, track those winning trades, and see what they did good on that or bad, and just trade those winning trades only. And try to kind of go more into details on those winning trades, on how you can improve them every
Hmm.
day with the proper risk management, and keep repeating it, daily, like day in and day out. That's all. That's what I've been,
Absolutely.
yeah, talking to them. Yeah, yeah, telling them.
And being under the PDT, you know, what I mean, help me understand because you were under the PDT, right?
Yep.
If I'm understanding, right? And
Yep.
so and so were
Oh,
you did you
sorry,
have
guys.
multiple
Yeah.
did you have
Yeah.
multiple brokers or
Oh, yeah. I'm actually not under PDT because I'm international. I'm not
that's what I
U.S.
was okay.
citizens. Yeah. So it was like kind of easier for me. I was trading like with offshore broker, and the PDT is not, on the side. So,
That's okay.
but
I still want to know something that's a challenge for small accounts, no matter if you're under PDT or not. And this is
yeah,
something that I'm curious from you because you're mainly short seller, right?
yeah, 99
Okay,
times of the
yeah.
time. Yeah,
Welcome to the
yeah,
club. Yeah,
yeah.
it's like so as a short seller, the reality is a lot of people don't know is there's a lot of fees, right? You're paying for borrows, you're
Exactly.
paying for ECN fees, and you're paying for commissions per share, depending on what broker you have.
Hmm.
And how did you deal with that? Like, was that an issue when it came to small account trading? And if it was, can you explain like how you dealt with that?
It It was, bro. And what I've been doing is that I try to I try to be like a sniper.
Yeah.
I try to wait for, when I had a small account, I try to wait for my A plus setup only. And of course, with all the fees, but if the stock is running, I mean, if it's a hot check the first day with
Yep.
good volume, I have to reserve some kind of shares, right? You just have to. But it's like for day two and day three, you could easily wait for them to hit to your levels and then locate. So that's what have been, helping me. But for the momentum kind of plays, I have to reserve some. But if it's if it's too expensive, I have to pass it. So there's like the risk reward is not there. So I'm not bothering. That's all.
So, but with the small account, whenever because you at first you started with like $700, right? And
Yeah.
so, or 800, whatever it might have been, under $1,000. So, if you're risking $100 per trade, you had to be a sniper. I mean, because if you're entering, or was it okay? Like, how'd you deal with those commissions? Because they could eat away if you're in and out, in and out, in and out, right? Or am I wrong there?
Yeah, I mean, when it was like at $700, I didn't risk $100. I was risking like $14 based on that 2% on my account, right?
Yes. You hear that,
And
everyone? See, that's risk management.
yeah, so as long as your account can grows, after that you can put more risk on those small size, right? That's what I've been telling to the members, like just focus on your account, grow that. If you can grow that, you can add more risk. Don't worry about size. Sizing. I mean, sizing is an art, but if you can control that, like sizing accordingly based on your account, like based on what you could afford, then probably you're gonna blow up. I mean, if you like trading, I don't know, with 1,000 shares on 700 account, and you're not going to be able to make
Yeah,
it very long. So yeah,
absolutely.
so I was kind of trading based on my account, and it's like 700 bucks, right? So that's $14. So if I want to risk, like, I don't know, 10 cents, that means my max size would be like 100 shares. That's it.
Yep.
That's simple.
Yep, that makes sense. But when it comes to like brokers and you're risking $14, that means you're maybe making, 24 or 30, 45,
Yeah.
And if that's the case, that's I'm fine with that. Like I love that idea. But my question is, the reality is the brokers that you and I trade, especially ones that you're going to find borrows on, and maybe I'm wrong here, but most of them you're paying a monthly service, and then you're paying the per share and the locate. So I'm curious, was that had to be very difficult to grow the account because like you're growing like 45, 45, 40, 30, 30, and then here's the monthly fee, here's the borrows. Like, how'd you deal with that, or was it really an issue for you to grow? Like, was there an issue there?
I mean, surely it was, and I got kind of lucky in the first 2 weeks. It was like all green with, good amount. And I think, also my broker, when you put on the limit order, it's free. So
Ah,
I don't have to pay, for that. So I'm only paying like, the monthly fees for the platform, right? And the locates fee, and that's it.
okay.
And locate is like 100 and 200 shares on maybe 2 cents or 4 cents is like under $10. So that's all good. I mean,
Yep.
if you can make it $20 back, right? So
I
yeah.
know, I love it. So it seems like you weren't really worried about it. Like it's not as big of an issue as I'm making it sound. And I'm asking
Hmm.
this question because there's a lot of people out there who might be feeling this way or who might be dealing with this kind of a challenge. And
Yeah.
it's very unique that I mean you're one of the few who actually grew a small account and had the experience that you had where you came back after losing and came back and now you're consistent. So I love the story. So I wanted to find out your perspective on this. But look, Tom,
Yeah.
if there's any one word of advice, if you could go back in time, Tom, you could go back to before, right when you first started trading, if you could tell yourself one word of advice to help yourself become more successful, and not something as simple as join, go sign up on a mentor, because I just want to know like something that really helped you like it could be something you learned from that, but I'm
Yeah.
curious what that might be.
I think is like when I stop anticipating on the stock, I became, profitable. Because all those, times before I was anticipating, anything that moves, right? But right now, like what I'm trading is like I try to wait for the confirmation or like, a natural like thesis or whatever you call it. But I need that confirmation for me to get in the trade. And that's, I think something it's, changing, a lot for
Absolutely. Oh, I
myself.
love
Yeah.
that. I love
Yeah.
that, man. Because I didn't expect you to say that, and I'm glad you said that though, because that's awesome, man. I think it's huge. Anyone listening, because a lot of us are being, we're trying to predict rather than react.
Exactly.
And when you
Exactly.
try to predict, you're going to be wrong a lot.
Yeah.
Oh man, well, Tom, look, I really want to say first off, man, thank you so much for joining us today and giving us some advice and telling us a little bit about your story. I know this can help a lot of people out there who are actually dealing with some similar challenges. And I think the biggest takeaways that I could take away personally is just how important the risk management is and how
Yeah.
that really helped you grow.
Yeah,
And
bro.
of course, we all need edges, but risk management, dude, if you don't have that, you're not going to make it, period. I don't care who
Exactly.
you are. And so I love that you even shared that you're risking $14 sometimes. And so like that is how important it is to have risk management. And so thank you so much for being on the show today. And if anyone wants to reach out to you, the best way to reach out to Tom is on Twitter, right?
Yeah, yeah, bro. On
And
Twitter.
what's your Twitter handle?
Yeah, Tom Diesel. Yeah, I put all
And
kind
it's
of,
spelled.
yeah, that sign.
I'll
It's
say
just
it's
stupid.
Tom.
It
It's
was like
at
I
Tom.
joined in 2011, right? So it was.
It's at Tom D the number 13SEL, because we
Yeah,
all
yeah,
are
yeah.
very unique with our letters.
With a dollar sign on it. So because I want more.
Oh yeah, it was. Oh yeah, but yeah, that's true with a dollar sign. So anyway, thanks again, Tom. I really appreciate you joining me today, my man.
Thanks for having me, bro. Thank you.